Tell us a bit about how practically can CPS 6.1 be integrated into a company's product development process.
Number of ways it can be integrated. It's as a method, it's easy to integrate it because it's a very general method, and it's a friendly method to existing methods that exist in organizations. One of the things that happens is we basically approach the learning and application of basic tools and get clear about our language, what we mean by generating ideas. For example, there's a big difference in our language between ideas, which is the big thing in innovation, and problems or opportunities. And we try to look at that difference and say, now, what are we going after here? When we're looking at consumer insight, are we looking at ideas from our customers, or are we looking really at what their gaps, what their needs are, or their problems are? So we integrate the tools day to day, and we help the integration happen across the functions. So when different functions need to come together, process engineering coming together with R&D, with some of the consumer people, what they can do is they can have a common understanding of what they're trying to accomplish, get it done faster, better, and cheaper.
Scott, how can CPS 6.1 be integrated into a corporation today?
I think there are a couple of ways that integration happens best. And first and foremost, it's about some awareness, maybe some training, some sponsorship on the part of the key leadership team, so they're aware of the need and they will support the kind of learning and the investment that needs to happen on the front end of the integration. I think ultimately it's about results. Mm-hmm. So as we can see the benefits of that kind of a process working across the functions, right, they can highlight the benefits and keep the energy high.
Good. Then here's the next related question. How can CPS 6.1 help new product development or NPD personnel understand the unmet and unarticulated needs of a customer?
Well, as you saw with Datex, what they did is they took a very simple tool within the CPS framework, and they went out and actually talked with consumers and got the consumer to talk back. And each time they did that, they would look at gaps. In this particular context of anesthesia equipment, there was a big gap.
Yeah.
And as the gap was better understood by asking a few basic sort of questions, they understood a set of problems associated with that gap. And then those problems back at the shop, they could look at those problems and they could figure out what they could do to overcome those gaps.
Now you're getting a $64 question. What's the difference between being creative and being innovative?
I think there is a difference, Al. I think that you can have creativity without innovation. Mm-hmm. But I don't think you can have innovation without creativity. Mm-hmm. It's the human imagination that you must have as a requisite. Often the imagination can run freely and doesn't meet a need or doesn't lean up against a strategy of an organization. When it does, that's when I think we get innovation.
All right, then. Why do companies need creativity?
Today, I think that, Bob is right, I think that we've taken a good look at stage gate models, we've taken a good look at other basic processes right, to take quality in and cost out. Ultimately, I think because of change, complexity, the ambiguity that comes with that, and the competition for talent, for marketplace attention, I think organizations now are under the gun to meet the innovation challenge.
Scott, from a practical standpoint, can you give us some suggestions that you could share with company executives who really wish to improve their innovative and competitive edge? What should they be doing? How should they be approaching this?
I think the first step that senior executives need to take is to be real clear about their business, be clear about their vision and what they desire for the future of their business. And then, as a result of that clarity, engage the organization and engage it in a number of ways, removing barriers to initiative, creating a climate that's open to take initiative, open to work across functions. I think it's also about being clear about what the need is in order to implement the strategy. What are the big barriers? What are the big things that have to be done to be accomplished? And then some friendliness to methods that may be outside their home base. Friendliness to creativity kinds of methods, creative problem solving being one of those.
So Scott, as a follow-up to that, what's some of the biggest challenges typically seen in organizations who are really trying to promote creativity innovation?
I think the biggest challenge is keeping newness and novelty alive through the process. It's easy in the fuzzy front end, it's easy to kind of come up with new, very novel, very original sorts of insights and concepts. But very often when those hit the value chain in an organization, they get honed down, They get made much more tame. And the challenge then is to keep that novelty alive all the way through the value chain.
Now, Scott, why do you see creativity and innovation as keys to an organization's success?
I think an organization is nothing more than a temporary solution to a problem. There's a benefit to having more people together, getting more done than they could do alone. Mm-hmm. Given all the forces for change that are out there, given the need to be able to turn quickly, to be able to also at the same time think longer term, there's a tension that's in most organizations. And I think looking at creativity and focusing on programs for innovation help an organization become more elastic, more healthy in their approach to dealing with change inside and outside.
Calling that creative competition, right?
That's right. Exactly.
Scott, with this renewed interest in understanding what I'll call the voice of the customer, can you say a bit about what's unique about your particular approach?
Our approach, as I mentioned, comes from a long history of research. So we have a lot of tools that have been pretty much proven, they're practical and they're portable. And as a result of being linked to a general system that's fairly open and very kind of easily transferred, we can accommodate other methods. So for example, in some of our client organizations, they're very interested in using ethnography, a nice method. Our method is general enough so that it can accommodate those alternative methods and even other technologies while using our system to keep some openness, if you will, to keeping novelty alive, but also keeping the clarity about what is it we're trying to accomplish all the way along the process.
Gentlemen, in wrapping up this segment, we'd like to take our viewers into the future, the near-term future. We'll start with you, Scott. What do you see over the next 2 years in your industry?
In my industry, I think that there's been a lot of effort to introduce technology to help generate ideas and get ideas through the system for new product development and for change generally. I think in the next 2 years we're going to see some improvements in the technology so that the easy things that we've already done, like idea capture and idea generation, well, that's great. But now we'll start to work on the harder parts, which is helping to get people to work together through the value chain, collaborative software, but also some things are going to help us get better understanding of consumers.
Very good. Now, Bob, what does your educated vision foresee?
I have a similar notion to Scott's. I describe it as A is moving to more of a thought-out process for the front end, less chaotic, not linear, but more thought out. The other part of it is that, and you were going with technology, it's really finding the balance between people, processes, and your technology. Neither one will solve it. At PDMA, we're putting a tremendous effort, as was done over the last 10 years in creating a robust product development process, is really working to shape what those front-end processes look like so companies are able to identify customer needs much earlier and get them into the development process. So I think what Scott's doing is his company is on the right track.
Very good. Now, once again, we have to conclude this very interesting discussion, but before doing so, I want to thank you, Scott, for your wonderful contribution today.
It's good being here, Al. Thank you.
And Bob, as always, you're indispensable to the process.
Always a pleasure.
And thank you for watching. Until next time, for World Business Review, I'm Alexander Hay.